Hey y'all! So happy Sunday. This is the start of a weekly reading vlog, first one of the year. So my goal for the week is to read the books that I had chosen for my TBR polls from my new TBR game. If you didn't see it, I'll put a link to that in the cards. Unsurprisingly, me being me, this has already changed. For the book that came off of my digital shelves, that was BlacKkKlansman by Ron Stallworth, I believe. That is going to stay the same. I have the audiobook of it checked out already. Pretty excited. I do think I'm gonna go ahead and try and start that tomorrow because it's not very long, and that way I can kind of just get it done out of the way and knocks off my nonfiction book as well for the month. It also just makes me feel like I actually got something accomplished this week. The drama lies in the book that was supposed to be coming off of my owned TBR, picked When No One Was Watching by 𝗖cie his𝘁 for a BIPOC author. I chose this because I've been in the mood for a mystery book lately, but unfortunately I realized this is actually published by HarperCollins, and to try and stand with the strike, they have requested that reviewers don't post any reviews of HarperCollins books. Instead of this, I thought about maybe posting a poll on Instagram with some other books, but then I realized there's a book that's a rollover from last month that is still on my TBR technically. It is by a BIPOC author, but technically it's a reread, so it wasn't on my TBR shelf. But you know, this is my channel, this is my game. I'm gonna cheat already. We Free the Stars by 𝗖cie his𝘁. I finished the first one, We Hunt the Flame, literally on Friday. I was supposed to read these in December and I absolutely failed at that. But I do still want to reread these because I had such a fun time rereading the first one. I actually worked through it fairly quickly and I loved getting to annotate it. Now I'm gonna read this one and fix this annotation system. Along with this one, I also just recently realized that Count Your Lucky Stars is also published by HarperCollins, and I was reading this for a video. That kind of sucks. So I thankfully had a backup that is not published by HarperCollins, and none of the other books I read were either. This works out really great because that video comes out in February and like I only need to read one more book for it. Rather than this one, I think instead I'm gonna pick up the Shoddy Setup. Oh shoot, I don't remember who the author is. I think it's like Lily Vale. I know it's a second chance romance book. I think I've heard one person review it and she had a glowing review, gave it 5 stars, which does make me pretty excited for it. But I know nothing other than the fact that it's a second chance romance. In terms of other book news, I also received Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez because I won this in a Goodreads giveaway. Irony is I actually already have an arc of this digitally from NetGalley. I now have 2 copies of it. I'm not gonna read this in this video. This is like just me hauling it basically, but I am excited. This is the next book in her Part of Your World series, and it's following, oh shoot, what was her name? Brianna, who I really enjoyed her in the first book. I don't know who the guy is. I know his like called Dr. Death because like his first day at the hospital, a bunch of people die under his care, which very unfortunate when you work in the medical business. It's Sunday. I came back from Josh's. We spent the day being incredibly lazy watching Criminal Minds. We got bagels though this morning and they were delicious. Then I hung out with Allie and Kat. We did a little bit of productivity sprints and I got some editing done. But now, honestly, I actually need to finish out my final book support group readathon. I'm gonna be reading for that, but I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow. Hi y'all, so it's Monday, I'm back from work and I am trying to get this filmed while I also get ready to go take Faith for a you-know-what because the sun is going down, and so I'm trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I started into the BlacKkKlansman this morning. That is completing my TBR poll for a color in the title because black, obviously. Also, if you ever see this in my videos and you wonder why I have a poster board just sitting up here, it's to protect my necklaces because I don't trust Sam to get up on my dresser and not play with them when I'm gone. Anyway, so I started into BlacKkKlansman and I am enjoying that. The author actually reads the audiobook. He has a very soothing voice. I don't know, he kind of reminds me of like a grandpa. But I do like that he started the book with the investigation into the Ku Klux Klan in his area. He basically saw a ad in the paper saying that, hey, if you're interested, write in, and he did, not thinking anything would really come of it. So he actually used his real name, but he did use a undercover address. And then whenever he spoke with somebody, he again used his real name, and obviously he's a black man. By this point, he is actually kind of turning it into a serious investigation and has now partnered with somebody to be sort of the face of Ron Stallworth, because clearly they need a white person for this situation. After the beginning part of this investigation is established, he kind of does explain his background, how he got started in law enforcement, his role, how he eventually became to work as a undercover cop, and even talks about some of the racism he faced while being a police officer, not just from like people he was arresting, but even from people in his own precinct. For example, the one that absolutely killed me is he's talking to somebody higher up about this whole investigation that he has planned now, and how he would need a white officer to act as him when it comes to in-person meetings. And the officer says in response that there's no way the KKK is going to believe that he is a white man on the phone because Black people talk a certain way. And his response was, well, how do they talk? His boss comes back with this very microaggressive answer, and it's basically like, oh, you know, they're just gonna swear a lot. And he makes a crack about, so my boss thinks that I can't convince somebody on the phone that I'm a white man because I won't be able to resist using the F word. That logic right there. Apart from that, I also finished out my graphic novel for the Final Book Support Group readathon last night. This is going to be fun to edit since I flipped that upside down. Since I finished that, I also am going to be working on Don't Fear the Reaper by Stephen Graham Jones. But seeing as how I just talked about that in the Final Book Support Group readathon, and then I have a ARC reading vlog, I'm not going to talk about it that much in this video. So like I said, I'm getting ready to take Faith on a you know what, and then I'm gonna probably do a HIIT workout on YouTube. I found this one girl that I really like. I genuinely don't even remember her name. She just got recommended to me, and anytime I've looked up new workouts since then, she gets recommended to me again, but I'll link her in the description if you're interested. I like her stuff because it doesn't have any jumping and you don't need any equipment, and you know, that's great for me. After that, I don't really have anything planned for tonight. Probably to do some editing, get some more reading done. Hey guys, so it's Tuesday and I am getting gas before I go over to Bob's. It's been a very stressful / annoying day, so I'm really ready to just veg out. Lately, he has been taking me on a tour of the 90s, as he puts it. So we're probably gonna watch some other slightly bad, but also very fun 90s movie. I've been working on BlacKkKlansman some more. I think I have probably about 2 hours left, so in reality about an hour. And I am really enjoying it, but I do wanna say, like, this is very dry. It is very fact-based. There's not a lot of narrative. Really, Ron Stallworth is kind of just reciting the events that took place. Once in a while, he'll make a comment about the events, something that he remembers that isn't directly tied to the investigation, or he'll make cracks, but again, they're very dry. I do like it though, and I think the fact that that's not bugging me is because I used to watch a lot of like crime documentaries, so it does sort of feel like that. So occasionally I do have to make myself pay attention, but even then, the actual meat of the story is like so ridiculous and so great. There was one situation where they have a second person join in the investigation and join the Ku Klux Klan, and he almost accidentally gives the entire investigation away by writing his real name on a form. He saved it, but almost messed that up. I was planning to start into We Free the Stars last night, but instead I just read an additional chapter into Don't Fear the Reaper. But I did start We Free the Stars this morning, already loving it. The tension between 𝗖cie and 𝗁 is so good. It's so good. Oh my god. And then I'm fairly certain I am to the first chapter that will be from Altair's perspective, and I can't wait for that. Hey guys, so it's Wednesday and I am once again updating from inside my car. Josh and I are meeting with a friend for dinner and we're going to our favorite sushi restaurant, but it's closer to my job than my house. So I was like, why waste the gas and drive home? I'll just drive to a coffee shop, hang out, read a little bit. So I'm gonna work on 𝗖cie the 𝗖់. I read a little bit further into it this morning and I've hit Altair's perspective and I just want to give him a hug. And then we've met some of the other 𝗖cie. They're such assholes. Well, okay, one of them is a giant asshole. The other is Benjamin's wife and she's a sweetheart. I do really like her. But I love the back and forth between 𝗖cie and the sassy 𝗖cie. So I'm gonna work more on that and continue annotating, but I did want to update you guys because I actually just finished out �ＢLACKKKlansman and I definitely really enjoyed it. I can totally understand why some people would not like this. It's very dry, very fact-based. At some points it is as though he is reading an incident report to you, and then at the very end when he explains that he actually basically stole reports from this investigation and utilized those to write this book, makes perfect sense with how this is written. The ending is also a little anticlimactic. That's the story, that's what happened. So I appreciate that he was at least honest in it. He didn't try to dramatize it at all. Explained how the investigation ended, and then he talked about the impact it has had on his life and how he has moved forward from that. He talks about that sort of situation he was in the 70s and the relevance of it in today's day and age, which is heartbreaking to think about. I also liked that he kind of told you about how his life has gone. He talked about some of the other major players in the investigation and where they are in their lives now. Definitely want to give a warning that there is a fair amount of racial slurs used in this against Black people, Hispanics, Asian people. Yeah, there's a fair amount of them. Overall though, I really enjoyed this. I'm definitely gonna check out the movie because I'm kind of curious to see how Spike Lee dramatizes it. I mean, it's a movie. He has to, at least slightly. I'm just really interested to see how it's laid out. And then also, I mean, Topher Grace playing David Duke. I tend to really enjoy Topher Grace, so it's gonna be an interesting experience seeing him in a role that I will have to hate him. I also have read a little bit further into Don't Fear the Reaper and I am still enjoying it. So many horror movie references. Anyway, I'm gonna go and get some boba and sit inside and read. So it's Thursday and I have gotten back home from work. FedEx was the bane of my existence today. We had 3 envelopes that I sent out either last week or beginning of this week, and they just disappeared into the void. So that was a lot of fun to deal with. And then when I tried to resend, for some reason, one of them, anytime I would enter information, it would tell me that there was an error, but all of the errors made absolutely no sense. So I finally just had to go, my arm just popped into place. So I finally just had to go to a store and have them do a whole envelope for me. It's a whole ordeal. Like I said, FedEx, bane of my existence today. But apart from that, after work, I caught up with my friend Kat. It was really fun just to talk with her while I was driving home. And then I took Faith for a walk while we were talking, and I miss her. So it was good to catch up. Since I last talked to you, I have surpassed the halfway point into 𝗖cie the 𝗖̀, continuing to absolutely adore it. Josh actually got to see my very physical and loud reactions to this book while I've been reading. Whenever he met me at the coffee shop yesterday, I filled up on way too much sushi last night, but no regrets. It was absolutely delicious. And then this morning, I started into the Shoddy Setup by Lily Vale, which is a second chance romance book where our main character is currently in a sort of secret relationship from her family because her mom was engaged to this guy's dad at one point. His family broke it off. However, he is not even the real hero of the story. The hero is her high school / early college boyfriend who kind of dumped her out of the blue. And now, right where I finished reading this afternoon, he has just shown up back in her life for some unknown reason. The main characters are both Indian, I believe, and I like the cultural elements in this thus far, but I don't know if I like the main character really. She seems very not like other girls. She restores furniture for a living and lives in a quite nice area, but she like spends so much time ragging and just talking down about all of the women who live around her. Some of these women are her clients, so it just felt kind of odd. You are probably wondering why I am sitting on the ground right now. I'm gonna do I don't know if it's a HIIT workout, but I found this like Taylor Swift Midnight's dance workout on MadFit, who is the YouTuber I've been watching for my HIIT videos, and it sounded like a great time, so I'm doing a little stretching. Now I'm gonna hop on that. It's like 10 minutes, so I might do like the Midnight's one, and then depending on how tiring it is, I might try one of her other dance workouts. Once upon a time, I was quite good at dance cardio. It's been a few years, so we'll see how that goes. Update. That was a fairly good workout, but I actually don't feel that tired. So she has another one that's like 15 minutes 90s workout. It has the Backstreet Boys and like TLC. So I'm definitely gonna do that real quick. Hey y'all, it is Friday. So I had a esthetician appointment this afternoon, which is why I look all bright red and shiny. Work was fairly slow, thank God. I'm not complaining about that, especially since I had to leave early. But tonight is actually Friday the 13th, and Josh and I are going to be going to a haunted house that is running for tonight. So excited for that. Cannot wait. We're probably gonna go get dinner. I'm really hoping he wants tacos because I want tacos. Fingers crossed, we'll see. Usually he never turns down tacos, so that's probably a safe assumption. But I did want to let y'all know that I've gotten farther into We Free the Stars. I am at about 150, so still working through. Not as far as I would like to be, but I've been working on it and my tabbing is a lot better now. You can definitely see the difference. I adore this so much, and there's an event which happens in this book that the way 𝗖ciehez𝘁 writes the character's response to that is so nuanced and well done. It's very, very complicated and hard to discuss it, but Zafira is almost seduced by someone who she is interested in. It is not that person, it is somebody else using magic to appear like that person, and like the conflict you can read in her words between now still wanting that person but also having that want tainted by this event. Holy shit, it is so good. On top of that, we hit the point where Kifa explains her asexuality, and I love it. It's so simple, wholesome, and cute. She also expresses her love for the team that they have developed, and it's so good. It's so precious. And then speaking of precious, I adore Nasir with Zafira's little sister Lana. He doesn't think much of her, but anytime she is even remotely close to danger, he becomes so protective. He's known her for like 2 days, if that. My heart. I love him. I love him so much. Anyway, yeah, I've gotten further into this. I'm planning to read some more of this tonight after the haunted house, hopefully, but I also got some more read into Don't Fear the Reaper. I'm not going to talk about it a ton, but I am really enjoying this. I didn't know initially if I was going to continue the Lake Witch trilogy after I finished My Heart is a Chainsaw, but I actually requested an arc of Don't Fear the Reaper on accident. Well, not so much on accident, but under false pretenses. It was Stephen Graham Jones and it had a musical reference title, and I was like, yeah, sure, definitely. Then I found out it was the second in this series and was like, oh, I wasn't intending to continue, but thank God I have, because I'm really, really liking this one. I care about the characters so much more. The twist that just took place, wild. It's a good time. And then as far as audiobooks, I have hit like 3 hours into the shoddy setup, and I do not like this main character. She drives me crazy. She talks mad shit to herself and to her best friend, but she never follows through with any of it. And it's just so frustrating to read. It's just like, shit or get off the pot, man. And she has a boyfriend already when we start this book, and she spends so much time trying to convince both herself and us that she is in love with him. Girlfriend, you're not doing it. I don't believe it for a second. Which is kind of just depressing, and then it makes me concerned that this might have cheating in it. So I really want to read, but I should probably be responsible and get some editing done. And then Josh and I will go out to dinner, go to the haunted house, so I will talk to y'all later. Heyo, so it is Saturday, and I'm so glad it is, because I'm ready to be lazy. Honestly, I'm very ready to be lazy. But so last night Josh and I went to our haunted house, and it was so much fun. They actually changed it from being a traditional haunted house to basically you were trying to stay alive. The actors could slap a sticker on you, and if they did, that meant that you died. That's like the only way they would touch you, would be to slap a sticker on you. I died twice. Not very surprised about it. I kind of expected that I would die. I didn't know how the people who were like tagging you would decide on whether they were going to or not, but I think it was like if you didn't react to them, then they wouldn't, because Josh laughed and asked them to tag him as dead, but they never did. And usually I don't react in haunted houses, but I thought it would be fun to play it up going through this one. And when I was doing that, that's when I died. But when I stopped, they stopped trying to scare me. It was really entertaining though. It had the overall theme of like an 80s slasher movie. So all of the actors that were in there were dressed up like different characters from horror movies, just like with slightly different names. So instead of Ghostface, it was the Shriek. Or, I don't remember what his name was, but they had a guy dressed up like Michael Myers. They had one dressed up like Harry from My Bloody Valentine. They had a mime rather than Pennywise, but it was very fun. The mime one actually was great because one guy was hiding under a table and I wasn't expecting him. And he like popped out with this little taser toy and did it right in front of me. Apart from the haunted house though, I also read a little bit further into We Free the Stars, both last night and this morning, and I am currently, I think, just shy of 200 pages in, so definitely not gonna finish that in this vlog, but at least I made a fair bit of progress through it. And seeing as how I wasn't initially planning to read that book in this vlog, I'm not gonna be mad at myself. And since I'm annotating, I only am reading it physically, no audiobook, which of course means I'm working through it slower. I also have hit the halfway point in the shoddy setup, and I do not like this main character at all. She's so self-absorbed. She thinks that anything Milan, the love interest, says to her is like some snide, backhanded way for him to mock her, and it makes no sense. It's like, why would he be doing that? Overall, like, she just feels very juvenile, and it's really frustrating. I mean, I'm basically her age, and I just can't imagine reading so much into every interaction I had with a person. On top of that, the guy she's currently dating, the more we learn about him, I mean, I don't particularly like him either, but they're just clearly not a good match. Like, they don't have that much in common. I've hit the halfway point. I don't feel that strongly about the hero character at all, honestly. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if I end up DNFing this book. Like, I'm very upset because it sounded pretty cute and I love second chance romance, but I can't stand the main character and I just am not convinced by a romance at all. Apart from that though, so it's Saturday. As per usual, I am going to be going over to Josh's. We don't really have any plans for tonight. I think we're just gonna laze out. The Last of Us TV show does start tomorrow though, so if I'm still over there, Josh will probably make me watch that with him because he is so excited. And I'm not really gonna complain too much because Pedro Pascal. I considered taking We Freed the Stars with me, but honestly, I think I'm just gonna leave that here, and if I do get any reading done, it's gonna be for Don't Fear the Reaper because I'm so close to being finished with it. I just kind of need to make myself sit down and finish it, that way it'll actually happen and I can pick up my next arc. Unfortunately, I have like 3 ebooks this month. I say unfortunate because I don't do well with ebooks lately. 2 of them are arcs and 1 is for a book club, and I don't know how I'm going to feel about that book, so that's why I don't really want to go out and buy it. And then obviously with arcs, I can't go do that.